Williams, your host and fellow traveler on this incredible journey of reinvention. Whether you're on your way to work, out for a walk, or simply taking a moment to yourself, you're in the right place. If you're navigating a career change, building a dream business, or prioritizing yourself like never before, this is where you belong. Let's get started. All right, so we're going to welcome Jasmine Hoyle to Success Has No Deadline. Jasmine has transformed personal tragedy into powerful, driven for success, building thriving businesses dedicated to empowering others. In early 2023, she led her team through a seamless transition after a fire at their High Point office, showcasing her supportive leadership. Passionate about encouraging others to embrace their fears and create holistic lives from freedom, Jasmine provides trusted wellness programs. She's a devoted boy mom. She embodies her teachings, setting a compassionate legacy. Outside of work, Jasmine enjoys spreading positive vibes and creating lasting memories with loved ones. And I met Jasmine at a retreat. What was it? 2 years now? 3 years, maybe.
Yeah, maybe 3.
Maybe 3 years now, yeah. And she's just been a pleasure in my life since then. I remember, I think you asked this on one of your Instagram stories. When you met me, was I shy and quiet? I forget what the other options were because that was the one that I chose. And then as you get to know Jasmine, there's no shy and quietness about her. So welcome and thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm very excited to dive into this conversation.
Thank you. It is honestly, truly a pleasure for you even inviting little old me. So like Miss Shania did say, I believe in wellness. So a little bit, just so you guys have a little more background, I own several mental health and substance abuse company in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I also own a toxicology lab. So that toxicology, if you're not familiar, it's the same thing as like LabCorp and Quest. And I own a community center where we provide food to the community at least twice, sometimes 4 times a week to the community for free. And I own a non-emergency transportation company. So I am typically busy.
You are busy. Yes.
Busy. I don't know who hired me, but I really be busy. But no, that is who I am. And I'm super excited and humble to be a part. Little me.
Little me. You are doing all the big things. I am so excited. So let's dive into some rapid fire questions. I like to open up with these questions so we get to know a little bit more about you.
Okay.
So, yes. Coffee or tea in the morning?
Iced coffee.
Oh.
Immediately.
Any flavoring in there?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Starbucks has this white chocolate latte.
Oh.
It gets me right every time.
Team sunrise or team midnight?
Sunrise.
Oh, you're
I'm
early
a morning
riser.
person. I am. I'm a morning person.
Oh, wow.
I am.
Didn't think that. Oh, I didn't know that. I should say.
Because I'm always late. But I'm.
That has nothing to do with waking up in the morning.
I literally get up around like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Nice. And what time does your son wake up?
Whenever I drag him at the bed, typically around 7:38.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So you get some time to yourself in the morning.
A little bit.
What's one thing you can't leave home without?
My vape. I was gonna lie and try to say something, but no, my vape.
No, truthful. We only want the truth here.
Yes. I'm coming back to get my vape.
Can't leave home without it.
You can't.
What's your go-to comfort food?
Oh my goodness, Skittles.
Oh, really? The red ones.
Oh my gosh, yes, Skittles or any type of gummy bears. My God.
Yeah, sweets. Okay. What's one hobby you wish you had more time for?
Pole dancing.
Yes. So you do it now. How many hours do you do it now? Or how many sessions do you go to now?
Realistically, I go to a session like every day.
Oh, nice.
Every day. I'm obsessed.
See, that's how when we were talking before, I was saying I need to find a hobby, but that's how I feel about boot camp. Like sometimes I'll do back-to-back sessions. I'll do a cardio session and a strength session. But yeah, it's good to have that release.
It is. I wish I would have found this years ago, and I wish I could just do it all day. I love it.
It's good.
Obsessed.
Yes. Last question. If you could teleport any place right now, where would you be?
It's a good question. If I could teleport anywhere and money was not an issue,
not an option,
it would be somewhere in the Caribbean.
Ooh, any
All
island in
inclusive
particular?
resort. I love Costa Rica. I would be in Costa Rica, like in the hot springs in a gorgeous bathing suit.
Yes.
Listen, with a drink. My
Oh,
God,
of course,
my
of course.
gosh, and my
Yeah.
vape.
'Cause you
Listening
can't leave home
to
without it.
listen to Janae Echo. Oh,
Ooh,
the vibes that I would
that sets the
create.
scene.
Yes, the vibes that I would create. Oh, don't make me
That's
say
good. Yes, that's good. See, I learned more things about you through that. Thank you, thank you. Now, you've gone through what I like to call reinventions, right? So I know you reinvented your life, your career several different times. What does success really look like for you?
That is a good question. What does success really look like for me? Being at peace.
Yeah.
Having being at peace and just being stable. Like when you
Mhm.
came from, aging at the system or being homeless with your child, a single mom, going to food banks, trying to find food, just being stable. I never imagined that I would ever make seven figures. That wasn't the goal. My
Mhm.
goal, truthfully, was to be able to go to Walmart and not have to buy great value. I just wanted to go get the real Fruit Loops, not Fruit Rings. But to just be stable, that is what
Yeah.
success looked like. Through my life, that has changed multiple times. When I was young, I always want the money. I want money, 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 money. But when I tell you, there were times when I had money and I was suicidal.
Mm.
But my peace, my sanity, being
Yeah,
stable is
yeah.
what success looks like to me.
I think that's really good because I find a lot of people think success equals money. I have to be making seven figures to even utter the words, oh, I'm successful.
Mhm.
When, like you said, there's plenty of people out there that have the money and are not happy.
I agree.
So being at peace, and to hear you say being at peace is what success means to me, it's
Exactly.
like a complete redefinition of the word success.
It is. And that changed for me throughout the years because I used to be one of those people that really thought that being successful meant having all this money in your bank account.
Mhm.
No, just being at peace. Oh my gosh. To be
Yeah,
able to just really unplug and feel secure. Oh
yeah, yeah.
my gosh. That
And
alone is
then
powerful.
yeah, and for you to say, like, it's changed throughout the time, throughout the years, because I also think people feel that, "Oh, I haven't made all the money, so I'm not successful."
Mm-hmm.
But I've done, I've made six figures or I've changed these many people's lives, and,
Mm-hmm.
oh, every week my company gives people food.
Mm-hmm.
That's successful. That's you're making an impact on your community. That's also a version of success.
Mm-hmm.
And the view is personal. I feel like people's views on success is very personal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I find in this online space where many people have gone wrong is you look at what all these people who have been out here years before you have
Mm-hmm.
done or what they're doing now and you say, "Oh, I want that." But you don't look at the journey that they've taken to get there.
Oh my gosh.
That's misleading.
Oh, it is. What people don't realize, sometimes, like I get people that meet me and I begin to tell my story, and it was like, oh my gosh, I wish I had your life. And I'm thinking to myself, are you effing crazy? Because listen, do you know how many times I had to start over? And
Mm,
especially back then, I've had to start over and, like you said, reinvent myself
yeah.
so many times, but it took me a while to realize every time I reinvent myself, I'm not going from scratch. I'm starting from experience. But when your mindset is not that way, it's a difference between being a boss and really being a CEO. There's a difference.
Mhm.
Like a
What
hustler's
what do you think
mentality.
what do you think that difference is?
For me personally, like when I was just a boss hustler,
Yeah.
I didn't think about the bigger picture. It was just
Mm,
like that whole thing because the real thing is in order to make money, you literally gonna have to spend money or sometimes lose money. It's an investment. It's a real thing. And a CEO understands that. A CEO has the ability to sit back and look at all of the different players on the board, be able to strategize, come up with a plan A through Z just in case something was to fall through. A CEO can sit back and do that. Why? Because
mhm.
we're that shit. And we walk in that boss energy, but a hustler ain't gonna do that. They literally just gonna be like boom, 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 and not operate in wisdom. I have been both. I have been
Mm,
both. And me, a thing of losing money. Oh no, I'm not gonna do that. No, I'm not investing. I'm not gonna. That was so ignorant of me.
mm, mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
it's a difference. Now, are they both necessary? Yeah. Because when I was a boss, it gave me that grit. It was
Yes.
boots on the pavement. And I was like there in my clients. Because even when I look at my business, people are like, oh, like you just not say, like people will look at this as being successful, this, and this. If I'm being honest, there is still like a detachment when it comes to my business. Because when I was in that hustler mindset, I was the one that was boots on the pavement. But it's very different when I operate as a CEO when I'm not the one that's dealing directly with my clients. So
Yes.
for me, it's just kind of like, oh, we helped you. Oh, that's amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that happened. Wow. We got a grant. Oh, who applied? It's like,
Things
oh,
are
okay.
getting
Look at
done, yeah, without
that.
you
Right. It's
actually
very
pushing the
different.
buttons and talking to the people, shaking hands, all that. Your team is doing it, and that, I feel, is a huge identifier of a CEO. It's like
Mhm.
you've built the company so that the team can handle the things, and you can sit up here and look at, what's next, what you need to avoid, or where the company, like, which direction the company's going to go.
And that honestly, and I look back and because I'm extremely spiritual, but I was praying
Mhm.
and what for me, what God dropped in my spirit was that I was going to birth the company and even steer it, but I wasn't going to be the one that's doing the day to day and growing
Right.
the company each day. That bothered me so bad. Because
Really?
again, but I didn't realize at that moment that God was taking me from having a
Right.
hustler's mindset into being a CEO. Because how many CEOs do you actually see that is, of successful companies that's like in there every day? You don't see that. They come for
Mm-mm.
the quarterly meetings, they do projections and things like that's what the CEO
Yeah,
does. And
exactly.
so, and that's honestly kind of where I am. Hopefully I answered the question.
Congratulations. It has. It has answered the question. And I want to say congratulations because I feel like that is huge. That's a huge step. One, I'll say, because there aren't that many CEOs that look like us
That's
that are
not.
actually doing it. Right.
It's not.
Um, and yeah, I can actually say that I've seen you and your team carry out and fulfill on different projects, different goals. And I remember when the fire happened
Oh,
and when you needed to be involved, it's not a problem because that's another thing. There's a lot of CEOs that are like, "Oh no, I shouldn't have to do that. I don't need to get my hands dirty anymore." But when the company needs you, you're there and things happen. Like when you're giving out food, you're there. Not always, but you're there when need to be. And I feel like that's also, it's like, it's your company. You want to see it be successful, but you know how to enable your team to be successful. And you also know how to support your team when they need your support.
that's very true. And it's very difficult. Sometimes my team, especially my executive director, she just be like, we don't need you in today. Like, could you
Yeah.
not? And I'll be like, okay. But I get it. Because me being there, I'm again, as a CEO, I'm a visionary. And
Hmm.
she is more of a boom, 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 boom. So me being there sometimes disrupts the flow of the organization
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's not my job anymore to be there every single day because our jobs are very different, which is so weird.
Very.
It's like
Yeah.
I'm talking to you and I'm having these different epiphanies. Like, look at me growing up and maturing.
Yes. Yeah. So speaking of that, what do you think was a pivotal moment in your career or personal life that helped you get to the success view that you have now?
Mm. I have a thing about being honest.
Okay.
So, um, so I used to have a business partner, and I never
Okay.
talk about it, especially on a public thing. But I had a business partner, and and I never really knew what it meant to stand in my power.
Mm.
And so when me and my business partner, we went our separate ways. I was left in control of this company. And the different changes when it came to my attorney, my accountants, and different changes I went through literally began to birth the CEO that I am today. Um, Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah.
Me going because when I tell you, it was like it's one thing to be mature and have the confidence as the woman, Jasmine, the woman. I'm very confident. I'm very curvy. Listen, I love it, but I was not confident the same in business.
Okay. Yeah.
And so me going through that situation in business, it was literally like, because when you think about kids, you have a child, then they go into a teenage, and then they go into adulthood. It's
Mhm.
some other ones in
Mhm.
between, but basically that's the gist.
Mhm.
So as the Jasmine, the woman was a woman. Jasmine, the business owner, was a baby. So me going through that business breakup, I literally had to learn how to be a boss.
Yeah.
At that time, I wasn't ready for the CEO part. I was a boss, hustler mentality, getting things I needed to get together. And I literally, because initially the plan of the business was not mine. I was there
Okay.
supporting a friend. And so guess what I had to do? I had to learn every part of my business because I won. But it's neither here nor there. I had to learn every part of the business, the ins, the outs, what's required because we were state and federally funded. And I remember going through like I feel like I was in school,
Yeah.
learning from scratch. That was what changed the confidence and the maturity in business. It was
Mm,
so many
mhm.
things that I didn't know. So many things. Hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah, because
Yes,
you had to wear all the hats,
I
and you
did.
had to know what these hats look like, what these hats do, before you could bring in someone else to take on one of those hats.
Exactly. It was so many oh my gosh, that time in my life, my God, it was a lot because again, I was so young and I had the mindset that anytime you hire an employee, they were your friends. Listen,
Oh,
employees are employees, and a lot of times employees are like children. But I didn't know that. No one ever taught me those things. So when I tell you I fucked up a lot, I mean a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
I got my feelings hurt a lot. I got manipulated a lot. And truthfully, there were times, let me take accountability because accountability is important. I probably was a terrible boss. Awful, awful, because I didn't know how to be. No one had ever showed me. I
Yes.
had never went through any type of leadership training. Only thing I knew was a knowledge that I had from college and observing different people, looking on Instagram. That's what I knew. I was like, oh, I'm about to be a boss. No,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
so much more, and it was extremely ghetto. But my God.
What's one thing you'll tell somebody today if they wanted to start their own business?
Hmm. The same thing I tell everybody, trust your fucking spirit.
Hmm. But how does somebody do that?
Honestly, so the way I was taught when I was a kid, it's going to be that still calm voice. Sometimes it sounds like you, but it's like that internal dialect that you have internally. The more you listen to it and the more you allow it to lead and guide you,
Mhm.
the more you will literally, for me, I refer to it as spirit or source or, God,
Yeah.
depending on who I'm talking to. But I listen to that inner voice and I let that guide me. It's almost kind of like your conscience, or some people may say
Mhm.
your intuition.
Intuition, yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So there are times when I'm getting ready to do something and I literally hear my spirit be like, nah, don't do that. I'm like, all right. And there's times where the spirit be like, nah, you need to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm just kind of like, but no. Like literally I be looking at something and God be like, or my spirit be like, no, that's a lion. And I'm just like, no,
Mm.
it's a teddy bear. Give me a hug. And baby, the thing gonna rip me and turn me every which way but loose.
Ah,
It was the lion. It wasn't the
yeah.
teddy bear. He didn't want to hug me. He wanted to devour me. But listening to my spirit, and honestly, when you get to the point and you get so conditioned to listen to your spirit, you will recognize
Mhm.
different shifts
Mhm.
and learn how to, as a business owner, it's so important to learn how to pivot.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. It is because shit happens. Things happen. You could be going one way and you have everything mapped out. Life would literally shake you like a rock weller. And then you think you're looking straight ahead. Baby, you done went
No.
down the road and back to the right. You ain't on the
Yeah.
same street.
Yeah.
And so learning how to pivot, trusting your spirit and learning how to pivot. And one thing I personally, it's probably a lot, but one thing I personally had to do was my mom, because my mom died when I was 14. But my mama will always tell me, my middle name is Tiara, so she called me Tiara. She was like, Tiara, there's more than one ways to skin a cat.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I used to think that was so old. Her saying these little old sayings, I'd be like, but me as an adult, it's more than one way to skin a cat. For me, what that means is having an open mind. You can
Yeah.
still accomplish the same goal, but you have to be open to different ways to do so. It's
Yes.
not everything does not have to be your one set way. My goal was to, my company, my mental health company is a seven-figure company. Great, love it. But on the flip side is, um, so like right now in North Carolina with Medicaid, Medicaid typically does these big changes where you was once getting paid one way, and then every 2 years they do these changes where providers will not get paid, and you're like, hey, this is month 3, I need money, or I'm about
Yeah.
to shut down my company. It's like these dramatic shifts, and so what I realized when that happened to me about 2 years ago is that I want to make 7 figures, but I don't want all of my money coming from one source. That's not smart.
Yep.
So that's why you see that I am a serial entrepreneur. Why? Because when one business ain't doing what it, when the math ain't mathing, my other businesses can still come in
Yeah.
and help me carry the weight, if that makes sense.
Yes. No,
So
diversifying your revenue. You
it's
have
the
to.
truth.
You can't have it all coming from one place.
God no, it is the absolute devil. Don't do it. It's ghetto. So,
How do you deal with the feelings of, so when you talk about the pivot,
hmm
how do you deal with feelings of guilt or pressure? Because usually when you're pivoting, it's either for most people because things aren't going as you expected to.
hmm
So how do you deal with the guilt or the pressure of having to change things when things aren't going well?
Mm, that is a really good question. I feel like my answers probably would not be the most politically correct
The
answers.
honesty. I respect the honesty.
How do I deal with it if I'm being very honest? Stop running my fucking mouth. Stop talking to people. Because a lot of times you start to feel guilty when you open up and you start getting everybody else's opinion on what
Mm,
you have to do. Like, because if you were to just go to the source, go to God, and God give you the strategy, God
yeah,
will also show you how to work it.
yeah.
And so every time I start feeling these heavy feelings of guilt, or if I start trying to focus too much on, oh, what is this person going to think? This is hell, God, no, ghetto, tomato, 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 boo, don't do it. Because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you have to literally do what is best for you. And this is easier said than done. I had an
Absolutely.
employee and he was sweet as pie. And I had to let him go because he wasn't doing shit. He wasn't doing anything. I had to let him go. And I literally had to be like, and now here it is this whole time. I was battling and I was talking to different people and I was feeling so guilty. And in my mind, I kind of felt like he already had another job, but I was still like, oh my gosh, I need to make sure. And I'm over here suffering,
Yeah.
literally trying to keep him employed. So I terminated him. He came in to pack up his stuff. He was like, oh yeah, I already have a job. And I'm already working full time.
What?
I said, oh,
Okay.
touche. But that
That's
taught me something.
trusting your instincts, that gut.
If I had to listen to spirit
Hmm.
back in November,
Yeah.
I could have saved me so much money because I didn't let him go into like March.
Oh. Oh.
And he literally got, that was about $200, $2,500 every 2 weeks. What was I
Oh,
doing? What was I doing? And December you get paid 3 times. What was I doing?
yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Me feeling guilty, and this humbug already had another job. Ghetto, tomato, 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 boo.
Yeah. Ugh. So, being the busy woman that you are, a mom, all the things, we talked a little bit about pole dancing. How do you prioritize self care?
Pole dancing.
Yeah. Anything else?
um, Honestly, right now, pole dancing is just like, because I'm not your traditional CEO. I am,
Well,
listen,
what is I don't think that's fair to say because what is a traditional CEO?
I get you. I got
That
you.
has been redefined itself now too.
I get it. It has been. So I am not. Some people are. I don't want to generalize, but uh, and just in my field,
Yeah.
typically most therapists, this is my trade of therapist. So
Yeah.
most therapists are very conservative.
Hmm.
And then we are in North Carolina, and this is a Republican state.
Oh
But
yeah.
so it's just very, very. When I go to like the chamber meetings, I go to my different meetings. It's very like,
Yes.
but who I naturally am is not that.
Hmm.
Listen, and sure, people don't realize that we carry a lot of stress in our hips, baby. So I like to twerk. It releases the stress.
Yes, it does.
It releases the stress. So for me, prioritizing my self care is at the highest level. I'm going
Mhm.
to do what I need to do for Jasmine Tierra Hoyle, just for the simple fact that when I don't, I remember we had a health fair. We was giving away food at a church, and we was just giving out free blood pressures. And my nurse practitioner, she checked my levels, and my blood pressure was like 170 over, I think, 120.
Oh wow.
Listen, baby, I'm 3 minutes away from having a stroke.
Yeah, that's high.
And here it is, because I'm 34 now. So I was around 33 with my blood pressure being that high. And most people in my family, from going back all the way to my grandma, have all
Mhm.
died from aneurysms,
Oh no.
which could be linked to high blood pressure. No, I'm not about to let these motherfuckers stress me out. Not a thing.
No.
And so
Mm-mm.
I do what I want to do. I do. You're not
Yeah.
going to kill me.
Yeah. Yeah. And you set your life up so that you can as well.
I do.
So I want to get into our oh shit moment
Okay.
of the episode. And this moment relates back to what you were saying about employees. So I had an oh shit moment in my business where I came to realize that I'm working just to pay people's salaries when I should be actually enjoying what I'm doing, but I'm not because my expenses are so high. I'm working to make more money to cover the expenses instead of actually sitting down and looking at how can I lower my expenses and enjoy my business. And that for me was so awakening because we were paying for things that was not needed. I had people on the team that were not efficient and effective. And once I made those changes, business became more joyful. And so many things have changed. Is that something you can relate to?
Oh gosh, yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, times 1,000. I think in business, one of my as you say, my oh shit moment was realizing that you do not need a staff. You don't need 50 staff. Because there was times when I literally had around 20 plus staff, and
Yeah.
I wasn't making any money. But here it is, I'm dropped down to like 4 or 5, and I'm making way more money than I
Yeah.
ever did with the 20 plus.
Yeah. It's great. And you're more profitable. You have more space to think.
Exactly.
You're not stressed about covering payroll, covering expenses. It's just don't set
Exactly.
yourself up for that. Like, yeah, that's one thing I always am
Yes.
cautious of. So yes.
And I think in my personal life, my oh shit moment was when I realized, when I actually started trusting my spirit, how my life began to be aligned.
Hmm.
Because I would trust everybody else's words
Mm,
over what I felt. Like I let other people dictate who I
yeah.
was. And because I did that, I had no confidence. But when I began to trust my spirit, it was like, oh shit,
Hmm.
this is what it's like.
Yeah. Wow.
That was one of my oh shit moments, my personal life, when I actually began to just trust my spirit. I always say that in any interview, any podcast, anything I'm always in, my takeaway is always trust your spirit. Because people
Mhm.
don't realize how powerful beings we are. Like if you were to just connect with God, divine, whatever you refer to it as, you connect to that, the peace that you will have in just the way that you're able to maneuver.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
can I can't go into details, but I can say this. I remember I was hit one time with a $1.9 million lawsuit. And I remember like my whole everything crumbling inside. But that was in a process of God teaching me to trust my spirit. I was literally able to maneuver through all of that. And I remember my attorney telling me, Jasmine, I don't know if you noticed or not, but you are really intelligent. Like you are.
Mm, mhm.
And my attorney, and I love him. His name is Chris Osborne. He actually put a pause in. Not saying this because of me, but he put a pause in his practice, and he went back to school to become a
Oh.
therapist,
Oh.
which I
That's
think is so like. But
yeah.
he was telling me, he was like, Jasmine, me working with you was just the confirmation that his wife was already a therapist. But he was like, me working with you and you just kind of showing me the different possibilities. It really was the confirmation that I needed. And
Wow.
I was so humbled by that. He was like,
Yeah.
Jasmine, you are extremely intelligent. And I hate that you ever went through this stuff, but I'm glad you did. That way you can know and just how people really operate. So
Mhm.
that whole thing of just trusting your spirit, it's just
Yes.
powerful.
Yes. Yes. And I feel like you can teach people how to do that because I think for me, sometimes I feel it in my gut, but I don't always listen to it. And you've given me that reminder to trust it, feel it. It's like sitting still so that you can hear it first
Exactly.
and then actually trusting it once you start to hear it. So thank you for that reminder. And thank you
And
for all the
of
knowledge
course.
that you've dropped here because I picked up and took a lot of notes. I feel like you impact a lot of lives. I don't think you give yourself enough credit for that because I know you and I don't think you give yourself enough credit for that. But I appreciate you. I thank you for your time. What do you have coming up next? Like what's next for Jasmine Hoyle and where can people stay in touch with you?
Um, honestly, well, they can always, if they're okay with seeing a little poll in just my life, they can always go to my Instagram. I am Jasmine Hoyle. Listen, I'm not conservative, so don't come in here thinking you're gonna find some philosopher. Baby, no.
Awesome.
You're finding Megan Thee Stallion's aunt. That just happen to be a little successful. That's who you're finding. Don't go looking for Listen, don't go look for Kamala Harris. It's not me. But I'm more
It's
on,
definitely
the Megan Thee
entertaining because
Stallion level. You can find me
I'm
there.
on there and
But
I love to see your evolution from when you first started to now. It is completely different. You're doing well.
it is. It definitely is. But if I'm honest, because I like, even though my business is going well, I
Oh,
haven't been feeling like that fulfillment. I haven't.
yeah,
And so I want to be more involved in the community. Granted, my company is my company,
yeah.
but I personally, Jasmine Hoyle, want to be more involved. And so, and like actually a community leader, because I'm always in the background. It's like I be in here in my own little
Uh-huh.
world, but I don't really be listen. I be Leoing by myself. So, so I'm actually in the process of
Yay.
joining some community boards, and
That's
I
good.
have an interest meeting actually today as well. So I'm super excited. People looking at me of wanting to be a part of
Yeah,
different things in the
that's amazing.
community, and this time I actually want to
It
take
would.
an
It all
active
cycles back.
stand,
It all cycles back. So
which
that's
will be good
amazing.
for my business
Congratulations.
anyways. Truthfully,
Yay. Yay. I look forward to following the journey and hearing more.
thank
Yes. So
you,
thank you. Thank you for your time.
thank you,
Thanks for tuning in to Worthy and Unapologetic. I hope today's conversation inspired you to take the next step on your journey. Remember, you're worthy of success, happiness, and self care, no matter where you are. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share it, and leave a review. Your support helps us reach more women ready to step into their power. Until next time, stay unapologetically you and keep prioritizing your well being. Your journey matters. See you in the next episode.